now an area cleared for the brewery site, and with quick finger snaps from the hand of Terra, the room stood ready. Excellent. But the recently built brewery lacked a brewing copper. With a sigh of resignation, the overworked evil set about taking care of that too. The hard-working evil effortlessly built a brewing copper so that delicious beer could be brewed as soon as possible. One of the little snots started working on the brewing copper. The nostalgic evil banished all thoughts of Oktoberfest and brass bands. Those would have to wait. More important tasks had to be completed first. Both beer and gold were now available in the dungeon, so it was time to hire some creatures to defend against greedy heroes or whatever else snuck around underground. At present, it was only simple orcs declaring undying loyalty to the ultimate evil. The rest of the horde was scattered to the winds. Orcs were defensive close combat specialists, capable of dealing with many opponents. However, they were very vulnerable to ranged attacks. The dungeon of the expansion-mad evil grew and prospered, but unfortunately, it had reached the maximum possible population it could currently manage. Now a creature would have to be thrown into the bottomless pit before any others could be brought in. Payday! An eerie gong rang through the halls. It did not bode well for the ultimate evil's treasury stocks, for at each sounding of the gong, the creatures would collect their undeserved wages. However, there was little it could do about this, as it was chained to the throne. Thus, it had to give free rein to its servants' desires, for the time being at least. One louse-infested orc crawled up from the depths and declared allegiance to the ultimate evil. The first step towards the creation of a powerful army had been taken. The profound evil had had enough of dungeon sightseeing and now wanted to move to the surface to try a dish that is best served cold. Revenge. Some Alliance members were bound to be guarding the entrance to the overworld, a fine appetizer for a vengeful evil. The creature disappeared into the pit of uselessness with a long-drawn and gradually diminishing "ah." This particular act of wickedness brought a smile to the face of the ultimate evil. Nameless evil's creatures came upon a spider's nest during their search for an entrance to the overworld. It would take more than one orc to sort that out. The abysmal evil used the Hand of Terror to grab several of the creatures that were still completely inexperienced at fighting and threw them onto the spider's nest. Horrified expression crossed the ultimate evil's face when it discovered that all the chickens from its chicken farm had been eaten. What were its creatures going to eat now? Wait a moment. Chickens? Oh, whoops, that's another game. The spiders dropped like flies. The strategically well-versed evil patted itself on the back, proud that it had led its troops into battle with such a bomb. And by led, I just simply mean chucking them at the enemy. The basics of a dungeon were now in place. However, the brewery was puny and didn't really have room to store beer barrels in, and the treasury was also anything but impressive in size. Quickly, the expansion-hungry evil set out to enlarge its dungeon. Payday.
The evil has awoken, but its brothers are still asleep.
Huh? What on earth was that? That's not in my script. What a weirdo. No matter. We'd better get back to concentrating on the dungeon. Huge monstrosity loomed out of the darkness on 8 legs. This dungeon's human guards had been ancient history for a long while. Now it was home to a huge spider and her brood. Would Sam and Frodo escape it and continue their journey to Mount Doom, or was this the end of the Ring-Bearer? Hang on a minute, that's not the right text. Where were we? Oh yes, a huge spider, henceforth called the Spider Queen. It would be necessary to eliminate the Spider Queen before the Horde could reach the surface. The Spider Queen sent forth a wave of her children. Of course, the ultimate evil was fully aware of this danger and immediately prepared to defend itself against them. At least, that's what I hope. and another wave of spiders set out to destroy the ultimate evil. It's payday. The vile perversion, once called the Spider Queen, had nothing more with which she could fight the Horde. Later, the sensitive evil would have her innards made into a lava lamp. The way to the surface was open. Now it was time to put those vengeance plans into practice. The vile evil wanted to take this opportunity to utter a really sinister laugh. But unfortunately, its physical state made this unviable. Instead, it asked the narrator to do a bit of sinister laughter on its behalf. Oh well, here goes. Deep breath. Once the ultimate evil had escaped from the depths, still fettered to the throne, it traveled to wreak terrible vengeance on those who had done this, heavily supported by its little snots. The first target was Paladin Robert, now King of the Alliance. According to scouts, King Robert spent most of his time strolling around his hunting lodge garden reciting poetry. Soon his poetry would turn into mournful ballads. The vengeful evil thirsted to defeat the Alliance's king and mount his head on the wall as a trophy. Whoops, of course, I really mean that he wanted to take all of King Robert's cookies away. Better play it safe, or the age classification folks will be after me. Before that, however, the ultimate evil had to do a bit of work on the dungeon. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to fund even a small army made up of a few orcs. The warmongering evil had hired the first orc. As ancient wisdom says, violence is a solution, usually the only one. The steady pounding in the rocks had given rise to overworld rumors of a new dungeon. A group of heroes set out to plunder its riches, and the ultimate evil was already looking forward to this visit. Right now, the restricted evil was only able to call upon orcs and little snots. But there had been rumors that some goblins were hiding out in a cave somewhere close by. The exploratory evil would be sure to follow this line of inquiry. The strategy guidebook, Dungeons for Dummies, says, mountains don't always... The heroes didn't know what had hit them, as several orcs bore down from nowhere and annihilated them. This group of heroes had plundered their last dungeon, but there would be more. Another orc entered the service of the military-savvy evil. The horde was growing and prospering. The ultimate evil should never forget to keep a watchful eye on its beer and gold stores. If its creatures can't help themselves whenever they need to, they will get angry. Fast. The time to attack appeared to be right. On the surface, in the tavern of a small, miserable village, some adventurers gathered. They were acquiring Dutch courage for their visit to the dungeon by downing several beers. The dungeon had to be destroyed. Enemies have entered the dungeon. The ultimate evil slowly made itself cozy underground. Although this was a sensible decision, there was a large and lovely overworld out there, just waiting to be destroyed. It's payday. The first brewery was completed. Soon beer would be flowing like a river, and an Oktoberfest atmosphere would pervade all. Would the ultimate evil put the beer baron out of business? Ugh, such a duff reference. Enemies have entered the dungeon. The first treasury was completed. Soon Greedy Evil's little snots would fill it with gold. You know the golden rule, right? Whoever has the gold makes the rules. Payday. A delicious rumble announced the fact that the village's last house had crashed to the ground. Ha! There would be no more heroes meeting there to seek out the dungeon of the destruction-hungry evil. The hunting lodge of King Robert lay in the north. It was there that the ultimate evil would finally get its long-awaited revenge. However, it looked pretty damn well guarded. Maybe it should first visit the cave to the west, inhabited by a clan of goblins, where the cunning evil could do a little negotiating. The goblin leader prostrated himself joyfully before the ultimate evil, and immediately dispatched 2 goblins into its dungeon with a few plans for a new room, a tinkerer's cave. This was built as quickly as possible. Payday! It had probably slipped the ultimate evil's mind, but a new room is at its disposal. After it recalled this fact, it immediately set about building the room. There are enemies in your dungeon. A Secret Service spy approached you wanting to have the usage data on all your monsters. Unfortunately, there's not a lot left of him after your orcs chewed his... Oh, I can't read that. Rome was not built in a day, but at least someone got off their lazy ass and made a start, in stark contrast to the Tinkerer's Cave. It's payday. Actually, building a Tinkerer's Cave was already well overdue, but the mentally challenged Evil had long since forgotten all about this again. Instead, it was following a fly's flight path with the greatest of interest and an open mouth. The Tinkerer's Cave was built. It could, however, only be used as a warehouse, as it lacked the workshop that the insidious Evil's goblins needed. Quick as a flash, Evil placed a creator mat in the Tinkerer's Cave. The Tinkerer's Cave was still lying there completely useless. The forgetful Evil should place a creator mat in there soon so that this room can be productive. Enemies have entered the dungeon. A sparkling new creator mat graced the Tinkerer's Cave of the expansion-hungry Evil. A goblin would be able to work well in here, producing toolboxes. A few of these boxes would now be needed in order to invent a trap. The moody Evil waited patiently. Defend the throne room. It's payday. As cowardly as the goblins were, their creativity more than made up for this. They proudly presented the treacherous evil with their plan for a devious trap. With a silent, evil cackle, it quickly buckled down to setting the trap. Job done. The trap was finished and ready to be found by a hero. This is going to be so much fun. Just at that moment, a particularly powerful dwarf warrior appeared in the dungeon. How had he suddenly arrived at this precise time was indeed most odd, but his presence was more than welcome. He was going to be a guinea pig for the trap. Even this strong dwarf warrior didn't stand a chance against the treacherous traps and powerful monsters of the invincible evil. He bit the dust. So much for a game of dwarves. The dungeon's defenses were now clearly much improved, but the hunting lodge still remained well protected and impregnable. There was nothing that the ultimate evil could do. The task was impossible. So the evil withdrew, bent and broken, let feelings of revenge ebb away, and instead took up looking after those cute, teeny-weeny trees. What are they called again? Bonsai, yes, that's it. The end. Pretty unsatisfactory, huh? Of course, that wasn't the end. In reality, the indefatigable evil paid the Goblin Cave another little visit. The Goblin leader would hopefully spit out something useful after a few more slaps. The expansion-driven evil couldn't wait to explore the further possibilities of the Tinkerer's Cave. In particular, a hospital seemed a useful way to cure its ailing units. It set about asking for this to be researched. It's payday. It did take a while, but the Horde eventually set out to talk to the leader of the goblins again. There are enemies in your dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon. Although I had made myself perfectly clear, someone has persistently refused to follow my story. Instead of handling the whole goblin and castle thing, it seems the one in charge was busy handling something else. The charitable evil had researched the hospital. This would enable its units to quickly recover from their injuries, once it had been built, that is.
apologize for that last embarrassing allusion, but you should really make your way to the Goblin Cave and talk to their leader now.
Payday. Enemies have entered the dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon. The caring evil had good-naturedly built a hospital for its suffering creatures. It, however, still lacked a hospital bed. Little Snots would then bring any units there that have been injured in the dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon. First hospital bed had been built. Wounded units could now be healed in the hospital. Little Snots would also be able to bring defeated creatures here so that they could be nursed back to health. Payday. Enemies have entered the dungeon. Your dungeon is being attacked. Oh, oops. Got a bit ahead of myself there. Tension's all gone, don't worry. Everything's fine. You don't have to build any further defenses. Enemies have entered the dungeon. A few hard slaps were enough to motivate the leader of the goblins to help the ultimate evil. As it transpired, there was an old tunnel which had been previously used as an escape route. This connected the Goblin Cave with the vaults of the hunting lodge. The goblin leader voluntarily made a goblin assassin available to the hard-hitting evil to help infiltrate the lodge. It's payday. The cheerful evil was pleased with this support. An assassin was a decent melee fighter, but its actual strength lay in its ability to make itself invisible. This was, of course, tested out immediately. There are enemies in your dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon. Despite the powerful invisibility skill, it was advisable for the ultimate evil to be cautious. Some opponents had such highly trained observation skills that they were actually able to see invisible units. A locked door prevented the assassin from progressing. It would have taken a long time for him to have opened it with sheer brute force using weaponry. Thankfully, he had a suitable skill with which he could deactivate doors, and more importantly, traps. The on-the-ball evil recognized that the warrior princess there was extremely powerful. The goblin assassin would be best advised to avoid any contact with her. A Gobobot was being forced to make miserable repairs in the lodge. A brief feeling of what it thought might be sympathy passed through the sensitive evil, but this actually turned out to be a mighty belch. Naturally, it would free the useful Gobobot anyway.
Roses are red, Ted Stark is dead. Now pray, please fetch. Roses are red. Haven't dandelions are yellow. Why don't you write it
Elated by the assassin's attempt at rescuing it, the Gobobot joined the horde and succeeded in showing its tormentors a real hot time. Its ability to more or less ignore ranged damage and set fire to large areas would come in very handy. There are enemies in your dungeon. Payday. And so the negligent evil promptly allowed the only really vital unit to this mission to die. The goblin leader sighed and put his second best assassin at evil's disposal at the basement exit. The hunting lodge was completely destroyed. The vengeful evil gave itself a very self-satisfied pat on the back. The time was right to concentrate on King Robert. He was in his renowned garden reciting his much less renowned love poems. The lyrically challenged evil had no time for poetry and would soon make this tangibly clear to him. The king was accompanied by a pixie who was able to cast powerful healing magic. Any direct attack would be suicidal. Mercifully, the omniscient and helpful narrator was at hand. He pointed out to the impatient evil that the pixie went off from time to time in order to check that all was well, and much more importantly, eat her supper. in a little camp to the south. Despite its massive firepower, the Hopeless Evil had lost his Gobobot. Really, that should be the end of the story. However, somehow, another one of these wonderful creatures miraculously appeared in the vicinity of the Goblin Cave. Hopefully, it would receive a little bit more care and attention than its predecessor.
Why don't you write a poem yourself? Brilliant! But you come across in the wrong way. Roses are red, tulips hot. You see them from your very
Good God, can we please stop letting mission-critical units die? Not that I've got any sympathy for those worms, but it's really beginning to hold things up here. Collect another assassin from the basement exit.
Roses are red, weeds are green. If you do not say yes, then I will be mean. It's good. Roses are red, tulips hot. Roses are red, dandelions are yellow. Why don't you write a poem yourself in yellow? Brilliant! Roses are green. If you do not say yes, then I will be mean. It's good.
Good God, can we please stop letting mission-critical units die? Not that I've got any sympathy for those worms, but it's really beginning to hold things up here. Collect another assassin from the basement exit.
Roses are red, dandelions are yellow. Why don't you write a poem yourself in yellow? Brilliant! Roses are red, weeds are green. If you do not say yes, then I will be mean. It's good. Roses are red and later go brown. Give me your heart, else I'll scream it. Roses are red, and I don't have an odor. Hold on, hold on. Roses are red, tulips oft blue, loose and wet from the very blue. On the Roses are red, and I don't have an odor.
The annoying little pixie had spoken her last healing spell. The crafty-minded evil sculpted a fan from her wings. Now it was time to look for King Robert and ensure his early demise.
Ted Stark is dead. Now pray. Roses are red, lilies are white. I love you totally.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Roses are red, leaves are green. You do not say that I will be me. It's good to be the king.
King Robert fell, and the ultimate evil had received its well-deserved revenge. But there were still many more heroes out there who deserved to bite the dust. Their time would come. The demigod Krotos, one of the sniveling cowards who had banished the ultimate evil,